It was supposed to be an ordinary Sunday morning. On February 24th, 1957, a young college student was driving along a quiet road in the Fox Chase neighborhood of Philadelphia. Curious after spotting rabbits near the roadside, he stepped into the brush. A few moments later, his life would change forever. Hidden among the weeds was a large cardboard box. At first glance, it looked like discarded trash, but when he looked inside, he froze. Wrapped in a worn blanket was the lifeless body of a little boy. The child appeared to be no older than 4 years old. Terrified of becoming involved in a police investigation, the young man quietly left the scene without reporting what he had found. The following day, another passerby discovered the same box and immediately contacted the police. Within hours, detectives arrived. What they uncovered would become one of the most haunting mysteries in American criminal history. The boy had no clothes, no identification, no toys, and no personal belongings. Nothing connected him to a family. Nothing revealed who he was. Medical examiners quickly noticed disturbing details. His small body showed signs of severe malnutrition. Old scars covered parts of his skin, while fresh bruises suggested repeated physical abuse. The official cause of death was blunt force trauma. Someone had beaten this child to death. His hair appeared freshly cut, almost as if someone had tried to change his appearance shortly before abandoning his body. Even more disturbing, his fingernails had recently been trimmed. Whoever left him there had taken the time to clean him. It was as though someone wanted to erase every trace of his identity before leaving him inside a cardboard bassinet box purchased from a department store. Police immediately launched one of the largest investigations Philadelphia had ever seen. Thousands of flyers carrying the boy's photograph were distributed across the city. His face appeared in newspapers nationwide. Radio stations interrupted their broadcasts asking for information. The FBI assisted. Hospitals were contacted, schools checked their records, orphanages searched their files. Every missing child report was re-examined. Nothing matched. No mother came forward. No father reported him missing. No relative recognized his face. It was almost impossible to believe. How could a little boy simply disappear from the world without anyone asking where he had gone? Weeks turned into months, and months became years. The investigation generated thousands of tips. Some witnesses claimed the child belonged to a traveling carnival. Others believed he had been kidnapped. One woman even confessed decades later that her abusive mother had illegally obtained the boy before killing him in a violent outburst. Detectives investigated every lead, but none could ever be conclusively proven. As time passed, the mystery only grew deeper. The child became known across America by a heartbreaking name, the boy in the box. For more than 65 years, his grave carried only one heartbreaking inscription: America's unknown child. Detectives retired, new investigators inherited the case, and entire generations grew up hearing the story. Many believed the mystery would never be solved, but 65 years later, a technology that didn't even exist in 1957 would uncover a secret hidden inside the boy's DNA. And for the first time, the child who had no name would finally get one. 65 years passed without answers. Detectives came and went. Evidence grew old. Witnesses died. Hope slowly faded, and many believed the identity of the little boy would remain a mystery forever. But science was about to succeed where decades of traditional police work had failed. In the early 2000s, investigators preserved what little evidence remained, believing that future technology might one day reveal the truth. They were right. Advances in forensic DNA analysis allowed experts to recover a usable genetic profile from the boy's remains. Years later, genetic genealogy, the same technique that had solved several notorious cold cases, was used to compare his DNA with distant relatives whose information had been voluntarily uploaded to public genealogy databases. Piece by piece, investigators began building an enormous family tree. It took months of painstaking work, eliminating countless possibilities until one branch finally led them to the answer they had been searching for since 1957. In December 2022, the Philadelphia Police Department held a press conference that shocked the entire country. After 65 years, America's unknown child finally had a name. His name was Joseph Augustus Zarelli. He had been born on January 13, 1953, making him just 4 years old when he died. For the first time, investigators knew who the little boy was, but one devastating question still remained unanswered. Who killed Joseph Zarelli? Authorities deliberately chose not to reveal the names of his parents, explaining that many close relatives were still alive and had committed no crime. Records showed that Joseph had lived a tragically short life, but many details about his final months remain unknown. Detectives continue to investigate his family history, searching for anyone who may have been responsible for the abuse that ultimately ended his life. Although several theories have emerged over the decades, none have been supported by enough evidence to bring criminal charges. The woman who claimed her abusive mother had killed the boy could never provide evidence strong enough to verify her story. Other suspects were investigated and eventually ruled out. The truth may still be hidden somewhere in the past, buried alongside witnesses who are no longer alive. Yet, despite the unanswered questions, one extraordinary victory remained. For 65 years, a little boy had been remembered only as a mystery. A child without a name, a child without a family, a child abandoned twice, first in life, then in death. But thanks to modern science and the determination of generations of investigators, Joseph Augustus Zarelli was finally given back the one thing that had been stolen from him the day his body was left inside that cardboard box: his identity. Today, visitors no longer stand before the grave of America's unknown child. They stand before the resting place of Joseph Augustus Zarelli. His murder remains officially unsolved, and investigators continue to ask anyone with information to come forward. Perhaps one day the final chapter of this heartbreaking story will finally be written. Until then, Joseph's name serves as a reminder that even after decades of silence, the truth has a way of finding its voice, and some victims are never truly forgotten.